Alright, what's going on, everybody? Fred Fisto here, and boy, it's been a hot minute since I painted anything, or really streamed, or, well, anything really, but you know what? I've got the time now, and given that, yeah, my audio's are a little bit hot, I'm gonna turn that down a bit. Given that it is now October, or as I prefer to call it, Orktober, I got this, little orc here that I'm gonna paint up. Oh, it just occurred to me. Alright, yeah, music's going good. Good. So, when you get down to it, what is an orc if he's not green? Most important thing, so I give him a nice little coat of green. Water that down a little bit. Got my water off camera. It occurred to me that if I'm going to be mucking around with water, paint, and electronics, perhaps it would behoove me to keep some of those things as far away from the others as possible. You know, I know what happens when the two meet, and it is unabashedly not good. So I figured, you know what, let's not cause problems here. You know, any more than usual, that is. Can't help but cause a little trouble here and there. Alright. Yeah, you know what? I really do like these orc models. Sometimes Games Workshop really does rub me the wrong way. More often than not, to be honest. But I do like orcs. They're just cheeky little guys. They're having fun, you know? There is only war in the galaxy, and they are there for it. Alright, yeah, there are a couple tricky places to reach here. Just to get some of the exposed flesh. It's, unfortunately, a little crowded, but I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm going to give this guy a nice good coat of green. So I want to get all the exposed skin. So that's like arms, face, and like a little bit of the neck. Once that's nice and green, we can start worrying about blocking out some of the details on the clothes. I'm thinking just to give this guy some nice contrast. Gonna paint like his clothes yellow and his pants like brown or khaki-ish. Maybe not like actually khaki, but kind of like that kind of color. There we go. Just need to thin my paint down a little bit more. Always remember to thin your paints. You know, like, it really does help a lot. So if you're working with thick paint, it tends to clog up details. But by the same token, you don't want to over-thin your paints because then it does not cover things as the pigment is too dispersed. It's kind of a fine balance, especially because all paints are a little different here and there in their consistency. And I have to admit, I haven't painted a lot of orcs in my time, or indeed recently. Yeah, this guy's gonna need 2 thin coats, I do believe. Unfortunately, he's holding like this little mine right there to slap onto tanks. That kind of makes it hard to get to like the inside of his left arm and left hand. Rather unfortunate, but we'll just have to play with the cards we've been dealt. I guess it's probably good I get all these hard to reach places early so I can get away with painting them kinda messy. That way I can clean stuff up later and it'll look as though it was nice the entire time, and no one will be the wiser, because I know I can count on you guys to keep a secret. Alright, we need a little bit more green paint, I do believe. Just a little dollop more. And thin it down. There we go. Let's paint this guy's face. This guy's smiling. He knows he's having fun. He's got an axe in one hand, he's got a big old bomb in the other. Like, really, when you get down to it, this guy is living life. It's his world, we're living in it, you know? Alright. I'll just make sure I got his chin. Under the chin, too. Don't want any exposed primer. There we go. Get in there. Right under the chin, and then just gotta get the neck and, should be golden on the green for now. Alright. Look at this handsome little orc. Isn't he just a really cool guy that you'd like to get to know? I certainly think so. Alright, actually, I might move my water a little bit closer just so I can make sure I'm getting my brush clean. It would not do to contaminate my paints. Everything must be neat and tidy in terms of not contaminating paints, otherwise it's a bit of a mess. Right. Oh, that is a very interesting email. Quora Digest has decided to send me some stuff about Naruto as if I had ever asked in my life. That's very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Alright, so looking at this guy, there's room to paint some yellow. And I think I'm gonna tackle it now. Well, yeah, tackle it now. I'm gonna paint his shirt yellow, I do believe. Paint a little shake, a little dollop. There we go. I'm just gonna have to be wary of all the little straps and things he's got. So he's got like some ramshackle armor plating, some straps, he's got like a little belt. I'm just gonna want to very carefully paint around all that stuff. Maybe not super carefully, but I'm gonna have to pick it out later, regardless of what I want. So how are you guys doing in the chat? You having a good Saturday evening? 'Cause I have to say, I certainly am. And you know what? If you're not having a good Saturday evening, that's alright. That's perfectly acceptable. And I hope I can make it a little bit better with my noxious painting skills. Alright, let's see. Yeah, once again, that left arm's really going to be a thorn in my side, I think. He's covering up a fair bit of detail on the left side of the orc. Have to get judicious in my application of yellow, I think. Have to be very, very careful. So about the last thing I want is painting on the green I've already done. Wouldn't be the end of the world, mind you, but I would silently judge myself for forever and a day. down a little bit more and just ever so carefully sneak in there. And oh, I got the bracer on his wrist. That's okay. That's gonna be a different color anyway. That's gonna be like leather or something. So I'm gonna paint that brown, I do believe. Alright, well, crisis averted. Just gonna touch up a little bit on this right side because it wasn't like primed super well. Last thing I really want is any gray plastic showing through. That would truly be a mark of shame. Alright, yeah, I'll just paint that kind of rough and dirty. Alright. So that's basically the yellow's all done. He's nice and yellow. Yeah, look at this happy guy. So next it's time for the trousers, I think. And those, I think I'm gonna do them in sort of like a khaki kind of color. So that way I can do like the other bits like bracers and things in like darker brown to make them stand out a little bit. So a little bit of tan color here. There's got to be another term for it other than just khaki. I feel like there is. That'll bother me, I'm sure. Yeah, you know, if you know what, like, this color is called, by all means, tell me in the chat. I am very curious. Oh! It just occurs to me, I forgot to paint one whole hand. That's rather embarrassing. I'm gonna have to backtrack for that. But since I'm already painting the pants, might as well finish that. And you know what? The worst part is I forgot to paint the most important hand. It's the hand that's clutching his little axe there. That is, it's rather embarrassing on my part, man. Maybe I'm slipping. Alright. Get in there, get his little hunched legs all painted up in khaki. Yeah, he looks like he's wearing a belt, so I'll have to swoop by and pick that out as brown later, I do believe. Alright, got khaki, get a load of that. Just absolute dump truck on this orc. All these orc models, these old ones, have just absolute dump trucks. It's insane. Don't know who's behind that particular design decision, but boy, do I salute them. Alright, well, that's enough on the pants. I'm going to touch up that one hand. Well, painted for the first time, actually. Yeah. Boy, how embarrassing. Okay. A little bit more green. Green is best, after all. And thin that down appropriately enough. There we go. Now I'll paint this hand properly. Thinned it down a little too much, I think. Might have to give it another coat. Yeah, it is really runny for some reason. I don't think I thinned it down too much, but, you know, probably better to assume I'm at fault here than to blame my tools. Yeah, that's gonna need a second coat, alright. Might as well touch up the rest of the skin just to be sure. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna thicken that up a little bit. That is too runny. I think that's a little better. Probably get some better coverage now. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I'd rather paint these coats properly, so that way I don't have to go back as frequently. Touch up that other hand a little bit. There we go. Face still looks good though. Still looks good. So I think I'll do the boots and like the wood and some of like the leather details in brown. Alright, here we go. We'll dollop of brown paint. Thin that down ever so slightly. There we go. Lovely. So, it's gonna go on the haft of the axe. Really don't want to get the fingers all brown. That would be a real shame. Okay, there, nice and brown. Now I'll paint the boots. I think I'm gonna save like details like leather belts and things for like right next to the end, I think. Paint all over these boots in brown. Probably have to give them another coat and then come back again to do all like the shotting in metallic paint. So he's got kind of like these spikes on the front of his boots. Those are obviously meant to be metal, so I'll have to come back for those. But you know what? That's okay. Yeah, might have to come back for a second coat on the brown too, just because it's going on a little thinner than I would like. It's not covering as well. Yeah, went better on the haft. Maybe I just need a little bit more paint. Little bit more in. Thin it down. Acquire the appropriate consistency of paint, and yep, okay, that goes on better. Man, it's been a fair while since I've painted much of anything, so I'm wondering if my skills are just sort of atrophying. I mean, this orc's turning out reasonably well, but like thinning the paints and all that. There we go. Much better. Much, much better. I do believe it's time for metallics. Take a little sip of my liquid talent. Alright. Need metallic, little gunmetal color. There we go. That's going to go on the axe. Maybe some of the plates on the front and back, and probably the helmet too. I don't think I'm going to touch the boots quite yet because they're probably still drying. Thin that down. Alright. First things first, the axe. Oh, the paint's kind of pooling weird. Huh. Might have to give this axe 2 coats, just to ensure it covers evenly. Underside of the axe too, can't leave that out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to that again. Let's get this little bottom bit on the half, paint all that in metallic. There we go. And this little back plate. All right. A little buckle in there. I'm just gonna touch that real quick. That's a fine little detail. Ooh boy. Alright, now for this little bomb, I think. Paint that up. Not gonna get too caught up in painting the bit that's clenched in his hand, just cause I feel like good enough is good enough. Something like that. So I don't want to muck up what I've already painted on the hand in terms of greenery. Alright. Paint some of the bits on the front of the body. Some of those are like little metal plates. Yeah, I really like the ramshackle look that a lot of orc stuff has. Like, they literally cobbled it together from junk and scrap metal. Might be a bad thing to say, but as an engineer, I feel a bit of kinship with orcs. You know, they make stuff work seemingly by just believing that it will work, and you know, some days it's not too far off from what I do. Very carefully paint those metallics. Yeah, I'm getting perilously close to some green bits here. Alright, last but not least, I think I'll paint the helmet metallic for now. Although, I think I'll definitely have to come back, give it a second coat. So I got some green on it, and the metallics aren't doing a super good job of covering it up straight away. Man, this really has been an exercise in like which paints cover up which other paints well. Yeah, alright. I'll let that guy sit for a little bit. Coming out nice so far. Who is emailing me at this time of day? Go away, please. Okay. Let's see. Axe, helmet, bomb. You know what? Probably time to stop shirking. I'm gonna paint the other leather bits. But I'm gonna get a slightly smaller brush to do so. You have to choose a tool appropriate for the task, and that other brush is good for painting a lot of stuff, but it's kind of bigger than you'd like. At least sometimes. I feel like I'm gonna need more fine control here. Especially I'm going to paint all these thin leather belts and straps and stuff like that. You are asking for trouble if you do not approach it cautiously. Alright. Paint this one first. Right along the back. It's a little messy, but I can work with it. Paint the overalls now. Or not overalls, like suspenders, I guess. Alright. Ooh. Focus, focus, focus. Alright. Let's paint this other little belt here that's keeping his trousers up. Thin the paint down a little bit. I'm gonna have to come back for that belt buckle, I think. So I can only assume something like that would be metal. But I missed that before. Need a little bit more brown. See how easily that flows. There we go. There we go. Nice and brown. Just touch up the boots a little bit. And anything else, I guess. Yeah, I'll touch that up. There we go. Alright, this guy's really coming together. Stretch a little bit. Alright, I'm going to touch up some green a little bit, I think, just because I want those hands in particular. I want them to be in good shape. touch up the green on the hands, and then probably the metallics, and then this guy is in pretty darn good shape. Probably have to break out the washes after that. Actually, you could use a little bit more green behind the neck. A little bit there, a little bit there. And now the other hand. Just to make sure old Lefty here isn't feeling left out. It's the interior of the hand you gotta worry about a little bit more. But you know what? That's okay. Alright, this guy's looking nice and mean and also green. I have to say, I'm a little surprised that of all the colors here that I've applied, yellow was giving me the least trouble, because normally yellow is a problem color to paint basically at all times. So I don't know. Don't know what's going on, but I have to say, if yellow's going to be behaving, I'm fine with it. You go back over there. Brush. Metallic paint. Touch up some of the metallics real quick, and then... Oh, I still gotta do the bracers on the arms. You know what? I think I'm just gonna make those tan like the pants. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. And now that I mention it, you know, maybe I'll touch up the pants too. I could probably use a second coat. I just love the ramshackle nature of even like this Orc's axe, because he's got like two little screws with bolts holding the blade to the haft. Why are orcs so undeniably cool? They don't have any right to be this cool, and yet they are. I think we need a little bit more, actually. Another little dollop. Water that down ever so slightly. There we go. And paint that helmet. There we go. There's the dark gunmetal color I was hoping for. There we go. This is an orc that means serious business. He's getting ready to chop stuff with his axe. He has a bomb in the other hand. There we go. Should probably do the shotting on the feet too while I'm about it. Might have to come back to that. I'll revisit that in a little bit, I think. And paint those bracers. Alright. Dull paint there, thin that down. A little bit more. Okay. I just have to be careful. Yeah, this is by a whole bunch of details that I don't want to screw up. See, this is why I haven't gone like super in depth into the green flesh yet, just because I'm gonna still be messing around with some stuff nearby it. It's probably gonna be like a last step or something near it. Also gonna touch up these pants because I think they could probably use the second coat. Yeah. Yeah, they could use it. Okay. Back to the task at hand. Those bracers. It's just a little bit on the inside that's kind of visible. If it's kind of visible, I want it kind of painted. You know. Doesn't have to be great. Just has to be kind of like the right general color. It's all I want, you know. I mean, when you get down to it, this guy's gonna be like ultimately a little rank and file orc boy. It doesn't need to be super intricately painted. But even so, even if he's not going to be like a centerpiece, I feel like you should put in the requisite time and love to paint him at least properly. Thin that down a little, ever so slight bit more, just to get in that little recess. There we go. Now I'll paint the horns. Actually, you know what? I think I need a little bit more paint before I do that. just a bit. There we go, much better. Just want to paint those horns nice and solidly, get a nice solid color. Because don't you know, orcs determine their worth by the size of the horns they wear on their helmet. And, you know, this guy's just like a rank and file orc boy, but that doesn't mean he can't have, like, some nice horns. I mean, it kind of does, but you know what? This orc has big aspirations. He wants to be a war boss someday. He just has to get there. There. Getting there ever so slowly. Looks like there's a little bit I neglected to paint earlier. A little bit of leather strap. Probably get that while the getting is still good. All the brown. Water that down, and there we go. Yeah, that's right in a very uncomfortable place. I'll have to touch up his helmet. Alright. This guy's really coming along. So, let's see. Need to touch up the helmet. Other than that, I was going to say it's probably time to start applying washes and stuff like that. Little tiny bit of touch up on the helmet. And good. Oh, actually, hold on. I'm just going to touch up some of this metallic detail here that I neglected earlier. Make sure it's nice and dark. Okay, good. Let that orc sit for a moment and dry. Then I'll shade him all over and then let him sit and dry, and I'll work on something else in the meantime. Alright. You know what? I'm going to take a brief little intermission. I will be right back. Alright, I have returned. So, this orc, I'm gonna have to start applying some washes, particularly to the green skin. And, oh. Hold that thought, I just noticed a little bit of yellow I missed earlier. That's gonna need to be rectified, I do believe. Sometimes you really need to do... You do really need to look at these miniatures from all angles. Alright. Let me just ever so carefully dip a bit of yellow in there. There we go. Oh, that was easy. Alright, now on to the shading. I'm going to be using a green shade for the skin, and you're going to see why eventually. Alright, so just get a little bit on my brush. So this is going to like flow into recesses. It helps make details stand out. Just gonna paint it all over everything that's green. There we go. Getting all this stuff nice and green. And then once this is done, I'm probably just gonna let this guy dry for a hot minute, since what I need to do next is paint over the green. And doing that while it's wet is not gonna work, so I'll just put a fair bit of this on the face. Fill out all those nice orky details. And then I do believe it's time to wait. So I'm going to set that guy there real quick. And I'm going to pivot to a slightly different model. So this guy was our bog standard orc boy. This here is a Space Marine, a Space Marine standard bearer. You know, he's got a big flag. That's all there is to it, you know. The thing about the standard bearer is that the battle standard is blank, so you can sort of paint what you want on it, and I'm going to be taking full advantage of that, believe you me. But before we do anything with this guy right here, we got to paint him a bit more blue, because he is blue, dubba-dee-dubba-doo, but he needs to be more blue. So we'll take the requisite blue, put that down on my palette. Thin it. Set that there, and I'm gonna get to work. The nice thing about the paint scheme I've been pursuing with these Space Marines, that of the Crimson Fists, is that their paint scheme is pretty darn simple. Blue all over, red left hand, or if they are veterans, which this guy is, you get a red right hand as well. Pretty simple, pretty hard to mess up, perfect for me. Well, the main thing here is that I want the blue to be like nice and absolutely uniform. And sometimes it's hard to get perfectly smooth coats here. Especially since it's been a long time since I last touched up this guy. But you know what? We're going to do the best with what we have here. Those legs all nice and blue. Dabba-dee dabba-doo. Legs are probably good. And I have gone over the banner a couple times, so it's mostly good. Probably needs a little touch up here and there, but it's other bits that I'm worried about, like the arms, the shoulder pad, the helmet. Helmet, the backpack. Helmet and backpack especially are kind of rough in how blue dabba-dee dabba-doo they are. Now, the trouble here is that there are some details that I don't want to be blue, dabba-dee dabba-doo, but there's not much of a choice as far as things go now. It's like the little Aquila on the front, I want that to be silver, but you know, it's kind of a tall order to not get any blue paint on it, blue dabba-dee dabba-doo, when I'm trying to paint everything else around it blue. So, you know, I'm thinking I'm just going to have to give it a couple extra coats of silver when I get to it. Got my blue, dabba-dee dabba-doo, nice and thinned. Yeah, this guy's probably going to need a couple thinned coats. Just because I want like a nice, rich, dark blue. Alright, we're getting there, slowly. Ah, man. Gotta get into a hard place, that sort of like inside crease of his arm. Yeah, there's a couple tough to reach places on this little guy. Might have to come back for some of those, do a second pass. But at the same time, I don't want to go around painting any of the red bits or the silver bits or the gold bits till all this blue, dabba-dee dabba-doo, is squarely taken care of. Get into all those little crevices, the backpack, behind the armor. Yeah, there are a lot of little places here where the paint doesn't quite want to go. even a few on this banner. You know what? This guy's looking pretty darn blue. Dabba-dee, dabba-doo. Could probably start moving on to other details and just sort of like pick up little bits of blue as they come up. Oh, hold on. Hold the phone. There's a little bit more. Gotta get that or I'll feel guilty about it. It's like right up in there, right on the thigh, kind of behind that little... It's not exactly a loincloth, but it's like something. Yeah, gonna paint the banner a little bit too, because this side's a little lighter in color, or lighter in hue. Can't have that. And it is the back of the banner. It probably doesn't matter so terribly much. But at the same time, you know, when this guy is leading his battle brothers into battle, they will see that the back of the banner has not been adequately painted. And you know what? That'll shame the chapter. No bueno, in other words. Alright, well, it's probably enough blue, dabba-dee, dabba-doo for now. Time to move on to probably red, I think. Yep. It's probably time to put the crimson in Crimson Fists. Gonna get my really small brush for this one, just because I want to paint those hands nice and red and not get anything else red. At least not for the time being. We need some red later that's not on the hands, but yeah, that's what I'm doing, like the fine detail work on the banner. That's not gonna be for a while. Alright, we'll dollop a red paint. Thinned down nicely. There we go. So first, the hand that holds the chainsword. And this hand has like a little additional detail on it, which actually got a little too much paint on the brush. This hand has an extra detail that I will no doubt have to come back for. It's got a little skull on the left hand, and I think it would look good in gold. Feel free to countermand me in chat if you have a metallic color you would rather see, but I think gold all the way. Alright. Getting a little bit messy here, getting some red on the chainsword hilt, but that's hardly avoidable. After all, I can always paint that later. And in my experience, red is a pretty forgiving color. Yeah, basically like reason 512 why I decided to play Crimson Fists here. Because if nothing else, their color scheme is pretty darn forgiving. As long as you have like the two essential elements. They are 1, blue, dabba dee dabba doo, and 2, they have Crimson Fists. Like, once you nail those two elements, like, you are golden, figuratively speaking. Alright, well, that's one hand nice and red. Now I have to get the other hand and ensure that it is just as nice and just as red. Yeah, see, this hand's gripping the banner pole, so I have to be careful so as not to paint the banner any color I don't want it to be. Don't mind if I get the banner pole a little messy. That's okay. But banner itself, I already got that a nice rich blue. Yeah, there's a little bit of that hand that's a little too close to the banner for comfort. I have to get tricky here. Yeah, okay, there we go. Alright, got the red, got the blue. Let's see, I'm gonna have to paint that, the banner pole, that. The hazard stripes on the chainsword. Before I do any of that, I think it might be time to check on our orky friend here. Water out of my brush. There we go. Let's see. He's looking pretty good. His muscles are nice and defined now. Yeah. Okay. So here's the fun part. You get this lighter shade of green out, and we start highlighting the skin so it has even greater definition. You can see the base tone, the shade in the recesses, and then this brighter tone on top. It's a little tricky to do because you have to be careful not to get paint in all the recesses. but it looks pretty darn good. And I've done it before. I think I can do it again. Just gotta get some green paint. A little bit more than that. There we go. Trim this down. Do a little bit more, I think. Yeah, that's a good consistency. So I'm just gonna, hold on. Okay. So there's a couple ways to do this. You can sort of like very lightly sort of paint so it only gets the raised surfaces. Like that. There we go. Oops, not like that. Okay, well, you know what? I got a little cocky there, guys. Forgive me. But that's okay, we're not ruined yet. We can keep going. As long as I just give it like a real light touch, we'll be good. Basically just like paint over the top of each muscle group, and like that'll do it. See, this whole thing kind of works on the idea that when this guy's on the tabletop, you can't see him all that closely, so it doesn't have to be a super precise thing. If it looks good enough at a distance, it is good enough. And that's the approach I'm going to be taking here, let me tell you. I think I need a little bit more green. Yeah. That down. dear. I think I got some green on the helmet. Ah. Doing so good up until now, but yeah, I think that turned out rather nice. Nice and green and defined and all that. Alright, I'm just gotta make these two guys fight. There we go. Alright, so there's probably some more cleanup work I need to do on the orc. But considering how well this turned out, I think I might wait on that. Yeah, look at that. Get a close look. Yeah, nice stuff, huh? Let me see. Guess it's back to the Space Marine then. Oh, Kawaii! What's going on, dude? How's it going? Wait a minute, hold on. You are just heading to bed? Isn't it like, I don't know, the early morning over there now? You're an animal, dude. Anyways, thank you for stopping by. I greatly appreciate it, and good night, man. Sleep well. You are wild. Oh, I know. You are off the rails, dude. Ah, man. Oh, it's good seeing you. Where was I? Super cool stuff, man. Oh, absolutely. Like, when I finish, there are going to be pictures of this. Good night. Oh man, he followed me too. What a absolute mad lad. Darn, I'm gonna say I don't know how to shout people out, but if anybody deserves it, it is certainly Mr. Kawaii Desu. You guys, all of you watching, you know, you should watch him, you should follow him. He is a really cool guy. He translates stuff from Japanese into English as he plays it. I've seen him do Ace Attorney and what's it called? 13 Sentinels or Sentinel 13, something like that. I don't know much about the game, honestly. I just watch it for him. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool what he does. At any rate, back to this lad right here. I think I'm gonna paint that. Well, actually, hold the phone. I think I still have to paint, like, the little teeth on the orc, but there's wet paint on that, yeah. Better not, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna paint this little loincloth business the Space Marine has. Alright. There we go, that's all nice and painted. I might layer over that with like a lighter color because I feel like maybe this khaki color is a little too dingy for one of the Emperor's finest. Well, I've been kind of avoiding it, but I think I'm gonna have to start painting that banner pole. I have to say, of all the paints I've been using lately, this brown is the fiddliest. And I have to say, I'm not a big fan of that. Okay. Alright, there we go. Get that right open. Opens with a nice little pop. Some brown on the palette. A little bit more brown, perhaps. I'm a little scared to do this, in no small part because, well, I just got brown on my fingers. Great. Thank you, Games Workshop Paint Pot, you piece of shit. I'm gonna have to get really close to some stuff I already painted blue. And you know what? That worries me a good deal. It's gonna edge right up on the hand and just paint down. Woo! Yeah, like I don't want to paint this entire thing, especially these bits behind the banner that nobody is gonna see anyways when I plunk this guy down on the tabletop. Yeah, this is, oh, this is gonna be like an awkward angle to get in there. Yeah. Yeah, damn, that is an unfortunate angle that I'd never considered when I was assembling this mini. I'd never considered that one day I would be painting this and I'd be doing it in a public fashion, and that perhaps I would struggle inordinately with something that would be simple if I had not glued it right away. Rookie mistake, you know, anybody could make that mistake, right? Alright, I'm gonna do a little reverse grip here so I can just really get some good control on my brush. Right around the already painted bits. I mean, I guess I can always touch up the banner, and indeed, I'm sure I'm gonna have to at some point, but I'd really rather not do it. Alright, careful, because that bracket I'm going to paint in metallic. I need to thin down the pan ever so slightly more. There we go. Alright, time for some more brown paint, I do believe. So I need to paint that crossbar at the top. Ah, there we go. Try not to make a mess of this brown paint. Oh my god, it's already making a mess. It's drying in the rim of the pot. What a nightmare, getting paint under my fingernails. Truly is like kindergarten all over again. What a nightmare. Alright, crossbar time. So I have to be careful here because there are intermittent segments of flag and metal and other stuff that's not brown. I mean, I guess I can afford to be a little relaxed just because some bits are going to be painted later. It doesn't matter if they get brown on them, but other bits like the banner itself, you know, I'd rather that remain blue. Dabba-dee dabba-doo. Alright, so far, so not horrible. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to do like this wonky reverse grip, I think. It's probably the best way. It's kind of unfortunate. This is tricky. Oh boy. There's a lot of fine motor control that's going into this, and I'm afraid it's not exactly coming across very well. Also doesn't help that I appear to be dropping frames. Hopefully it's not too bad. I don't know how much I can do to combat that. I'm trying to run everything as, you know, effectively as possible, let's say, so that my Miager computer is not unduly strained, but you never know. You never know. Alright. Oh, dear. So that's the brown paint done for now. I do believe it's time to, I don't know, paint some metallics. I do believe so. Let me see. Let me take stack things. There's gonna be silver on the chest, silver for most of this chain sword, silver for the thing on the helmet. Gold up here, silver there and there. Silver on the shoulder pad, on the backpack. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. Well, let's do gold, I think. Start with the gold. Now, you know, I have never had any problems painting with gold. It is always just butter smooth in how it goes on. Never had any problems. coat that skull nice and good. Make sure I cover all these wings and feathers and all that. Paint the back side too. There we go. Properly resplendent and emperor fearing. There we go. That's probably all the gold I'm going to do for now, actually. Because I'm thinking I'm going to do like the very pommel of the chainsaw gold, but I want to have the other bits painted before I hazard that. Just going to beat the devil out of my brush a little bit, just because that's what Bob Ross would have wanted. Take another sip of liquid talent, and then I'll get my silver paint back. There we go. I'll pick some of the dried paint out of the bottle, because that's just what happens with these paint pots. They really are rather not good in that regard. Oh, I'm just getting paint all over my fingers. This is rather not good. In fact, I would go as far as to call it double plus ungood. Literally 1984. Got paint under my fingernails. Oh dude, that's not coming out tonight. Okay. A little bit of paint. Get that on my brush. Get that on the palette. Alright, first things first. Gonna paint that Aquila on the chest. I mean, technically it's not an Aquila because it's like a skull with wings, but it's close enough. Yeah, once again, that banner is really just kind of the bane of my existence. It would have been so much smarter if months ago when I assembled and primed this miniature, I had just not attached the right arm, you know. Would have saved me a lot of grief now and probably even more in the future, but this is the horrific sci-fi future that I'm currently living in. You know, well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions, quelle surprise. Paint these chainsword teeth. That reminds me, I'm going to have to break out the special paint for these. So I've got some paint that very, very much resembles wet blood. And I'm going to put that all over the teeth of this chainsword. The only trouble with the paint is that my cat, in his infinite wisdom, decided to knock over that paint one day, and it spilled onto a pair of pajamas I still have, and it just always looks like I've been stabbed and am bleeding through them. So, credit to the guys who made the paint. You know, it works. Works as intended. Looks like blood, but, yeah. Like, it perpetually looks like I am excreting blood, and, not in a good way, either. I mean, I guess when you get down to it, I'm not one of the people who wears pajamas out in public, so, like, I guess I don't really have to care about it too terribly much, but I guess it's more about the principle. Like, my cat ruined a pair of pajamas, and it was just because, kinda felt like it. But at any rate, I'll have to get that paint out at some point, just for this chainsword. Of course, it'll have to be finished for me to do that. I'll have to have painted in the hazard stripes and done everything else, because I want the blood to sort of, like, make it look as though he just, like, chopped somebody with it, and it's, like, their blood gunking up all the mechanisms. Little bit more water. There we go. Oh dear, is there paint flaking off? That is most unfortunate. That really chaps my khakis, as a matter of fact. Oh well. Seems like it's the eternal problem, really. Paint occasionally chips off. Ah well. Alright, let me think. Painted a fair bit of metallics on the Space Marine. That Orc's in pretty decent shape. You know what? I might base the Orc, actually. And to do that, I'm gonna have to get my little can of mud. Mud and a little trowel. Ugh. Alright. So I want this Orc to look like he is wading through muck. And in order to do that, have to get an appropriately thick and goopy paint that resembles mud. Alright, oh man. Just gonna scoop a little dollop of mud. And I'm just gonna pick this guy up, plop it right between his feet. There we go. Look at that. Nice and muddy, huh? I'm gonna just take the other side and just spread that around. And actually, you know, this might be a good opportunity to sort of like, just make sure that this guy looks kind of like grimy and dirty, you know. Like, I don't think I'm going to be particularly careful about where I get the mud, at least in terms of his feet. Just because if he gets a little mud on him, you know, who cares? He's an orc, he's not overly concerned with grooming or anything like that. You need a little bit more mud, I believe. Scoop out another little shovel full of mud. There we go. Little bit around here. Want it all right up by his feet so that it looks like he's just trundling through the mud. If it doesn't look like he's not, or if he doesn't look like he's slogging, I don't want it, you know. There we go, nice and muddy. The only thing to do at this point is to wait for that to dry, to paint a little color around the rim of the base, and then I guess do any little touch-ups here and there. As I seem to recall, there were a few, but at the same time, I'm starting to peter out, you know? Did a fair bit of painting. This is some fine motor skill work here. And I don't know, that stuff is hard and gets tiring after not that long. Okay, so the orc's all based. Oh, the teeth. I need to paint the teeth on him. That's something I can do. Because what's an orc if he doesn't have proper teeth, you know? Those need to be a nice sort of like dirty color. A little bit more on the palette like that. Water down a little bit more. Alright, come here, Mr. Orc. Good point on my brush, because I don't want to screw this up. It's got a couple teeth. There we go. He even looks proper orky. Oh, I can't help myself. I'm going to touch up the pants a little bit. Okay. There we go. Look at that smiling face. What a good little guy. I'm going to set you down right there, orc boy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to let him dry for a while just because that mud takes a while to set and dry, and I don't want to disturb it overly much. Can I paint anything else on him? I don't know. I don't think so. I could always paint the Space Marine a little bit more. Let's see how he's looking. Oh, there are a couple areas of blue I could touch up on the chest, actually. You know what? I better do that. Because I know future me is going to be a little upset that past me didn't do it. Past me, I guess, being current me. What I'm saying is, I should probably do it. I'm gonna have to use this very small brush, I think. Or I guess I could err on the side of getting the metallics blue again and just painting over them later. Alright. Yeah. Looks like the helmet could use a little bit more blue as well. Damn. Oh, you know, that didn't come out too bad. Of course, it probably could use a second coat after the first one dries. Actually, I'm going to do a 10, because, like, for some reason, like, this area right over here has been chipping. And I don't like it, because I definitely painted that thoroughly. Really chaps my khakis. Oh. You know, that probably doesn't help with the chipping, honestly. Oh, dear, dear, dear. What little things could I do? You know, I could probably paint the hazard stripes, if I'm being honest. Just need to grab black paint, give it a little shake. Because I don't think I've used the black paint today. Oh, man, my thumbs are getting sore from opening all these different paint pots over and over again. Some of these, like, they have a tendency to sort of seal themselves shut. It's kind of a pain. It's kind of like with super glue, you know? Like, has anybody ever actually finished a tube of super glue because you used all the super glue, or was it just a case where it glued itself shut and you couldn't get it back open without destroying it? Because, like, that's what... Oh, boy. That just sprayed paint. That's all over my hands. That's absolutely fantastic. Yikes. Oh, I'm gonna make a mess. I don't want to grab the Space Marine with black paint all over my hands. Thank God it's water soluble. Yikes, yikes, and yikes once more. Okay. Black paint now. For real this time. Okay, well, get a little bit more black paint than I bargained for, I think, but that's okay. Alright, now for the hazard stripes. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint them along the spine first. And then I'm going to match them on either side. Yeah, these are definitely going to have to be cleaned up later, I do believe. Yeah, those need cleaning up, but not bad, all things considered, I think. Not my worst hazard stripes, not my best either, for that matter. Oh, boy. Yeah, that paint water is just about black. Yikes. Alright, well, you know what? I've gotten a lot of painting done. I think this might be it for one stream. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate it. You know, if you could drop me a little follow, I'd definitely appreciate that too. Having some nice people to hang out with, watch my stuff, farm a community, you know, that would be real nice. Definitely would not mind that at all. But as always, it's up to you guys. You know, only do it if you want to. As always, I am Fred Fisto, and I am programmed for your pleasure. Night, everybody.